What is going on, guys? Gauthaman Ramesh here for onestrength.net. Okay, so this video has been taken during my peak week, and hence I am actually going to talk about the peak week and what peak week really is. So let's directly get into the video. And if you're watching me for the first time, I just want to give you guys a heads up about what this channel is all about. So this channel is about fitness, lifestyle. We have a lot of topics that we cover on fitness, how to lose weight, how to build muscle, and all of that stuff. And also I do have a lot of vlogs on my channel that will help you with the lifestyle aspects of it. And we have a lot of travel videos coming up, so it's going to be really fun. So if you are watching this for the first time, consider subscribing. So let's get right into the topic. So let's talk about peak week. So what exactly is peak week? Okay, so now people who are prepping, okay, people who are athletes, who are bodybuilders or physique athletes, bikini, men's physique, figure, whatever. So peak week is something that we think is game changing, I would say. Okay, so people think that peak week is the one thing that really matters during the prep, and there's a lot of weightage given to peak week, but in reality peak week is actually not that important. So think about this. Do you really think 1 week is going to change the whole course of your cut, which you have been doing for almost like 5-6 months, hopefully? Okay, it's not. So peak week is, if you look at the larger things, like if you look at the whole spectrum of things, peak week is pretty insignificant. But I'm not saying peak week is not important. Peak week has a role, has a time and a place, and it is pretty important, and it should be done properly. But it will not change. It is not something that will decide if you win or lose a show. However, if you are doing a peak week in a wrong way, then that might cost you the entire show, and it can really screw everything up. Okay, so let's start about what peak week is. So peak week is essentially the last week of your cut. So if you have a show on Saturday, so that the previous Saturday to the coming Saturday is called as a peak week, and essentially there are a lot of approaches to it. So the entire reason behind the peak week is to get you nice, full, dry and shredded on stage. Now there's a lot of things opposite to each other, like full and dry. How does that happen? So a lot of people cut water, which I really don't believe in. A lot of people drop their carbs pretty low. A lot of people increase their carbs pretty low. They do their cardio a lot. They drop their cardio a lot. So there are a lot of aspects of it. So for me, I'm just going to tell you guys how I am doing my peak week, which starts from today, and how you guys can actually consider doing your peak week if you're coaches, or if you are, if you're coaches, if you're just getting into the contest prep things of it. And this is how I make my clients also do peak week. Okay, so you need to first track what happens during the entire prep. Now things differ from people to people, so there is no magical number that I can spit out saying that you need to have so and so grams of carbs, or you need to have so and so grams of fats, or you need to like 3 grams per pound per body weight or something like that. So all these are very random numbers to pull out of, because each of us are different, and this differs from people to people, metabolism to metabolism, ethnicity to ethnicity. Like we don't, us Indians, we don't have the same metabolism as what a Caucasian person would have, right? So it's all different. It's all how it's genetics, how we have been throughout the entire prep. For example, if you have been prepping with very low carbs and suddenly bump up your carbs for a lot, your body is pretty much fat adapted, right? So you are not, you are going to bloat up. You're going to look soggy on stage, for example. But at the same time, if someone is super high on carbs and I don't give him enough carbs on the peak week, he's going to look super flat. So this depends on how your diet has gone. So I would suggest the first thing you need to do is understand what a low carb day means for you, what a medium carb day means for you, and what a high carb day means for you. And this happens by going back and looking at things. So when you are prepping, okay, for me personally, I feel that 100 grams of carbohydrates is where I would say low carb for me, because the way I diet, I go on a low carb approach. Okay, so if your low carb days are 100 grams of carbs, and if you are having 100 grams of carbs and you're waking up next morning, going to work out, and you're feeling flat, then 100 grams is your low carbohydrate. Okay, so for me 100 grams is low, 200 grams is somewhere around medium, and when I have more than 250, I don't look good the next day. So 250 is probably my upper range when I'm dieting. Okay, so 100 would be my low carb day, 150 to 200 would be my medium carb day, and 250 would be my high carb day. Now I have these numbers, right? So what you essentially want to do during peak week is you want to deplete yourself of glycogen, which you already would have done if you are dieting the right way and if you are like on a low body fat and going down. So you pretty much would have depleted on glycogen already. So there's no point in doing like super high rep stuff, I would, from my perspective, okay? So what I would do is, point number one, do not increase or reduce water intake. Keep your water intake pretty much constant throughout your prep, okay? You don't have to cut water. That's the worst thing you can do. If you start cutting water 2-3 days before the show, unless and until there's a very big reasoning behind it, but if you start just doing it generally, it's not right. Your body's not going to, you know, be dry. Your body is going to try to hold on to as much as water as it can. Just because you're not giving water to your body does not mean that your body doesn't already have it. Understand? So water, the amount of water you drink depends on how much electrolytes are there in your system, right? So the one thing you're not supposed to mess around with is potassium, sodium. So you don't have to mess around with these two things. Keep it super simple, okay? 90% of the time, if you are already ready before peak week, you're going to be good. You don't have to do a lot of things to change it. You just have to have enough carbs in the body and water in the body so that you can pump up and go back on stage. Remember, only if you have enough water and carbs in your body, you can get a good pump. Okay, if you are not having enough water in your body, you're going to look flat no matter what. Okay, so let's take 1 week. Okay, so I would say day 1, day 2, day 3. The entire prep you keep your water same, okay? I personally drink around 5 liters of water per day. 5 to 6 liters is where I am around. So I keep that pretty much same throughout the prep, probably until the day of my show. Okay, until that morning of my show, this is what I'll be having. My sodium pretty much remains constant. That is, I don't try to increase my sodium or reduce my sodium. Sodium is constant pretty much throughout the prep, or you know, throughout the peak week until the day of the show. So what I do is so the lesser variables you have to change, the easier it is for you. So water is constant, sodium is constant. So all I have to work with are my calories, probably my carbohydrates. So it's better to keep your protein and fats untouched because again, lesser variables to play with is easier for you. So begin your day 1, day 2, day 3 with low carbohydrates. So whatever your low carb day is, keep it there and have a good workout. You know, do not go till failure. Be at around 8 to 9 RPE. Let your reps be around 7 to 12. So what you're going to do is you're going to essentially deplete yourself. And once you have finished the depletion phase, you can really feel the fact that you cannot get a pump. So once you're done with that, try loading your carbs. Okay, so when I say loading your carbs, it should be somewhere around a little bit higher than your high carb day. So if my high carb day is 250 grams of carbs on that particular day, what I'll probably be doing is I'll have a little bit more than that. I'll go to 275 or maybe even 300. And even if I spill over, even if I'm having too much of carbs, I have 2 more days to correct the problem, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be a low carb day, and Thursday is when I'll be, you know, having a super high carb day, where I'll go a little bit beyond my high carb day, right? And remember guys, my proteins and my fats are constant, I'm not changing that. So that will be on Thursday. On Friday, I'll again bring back my carbs somewhere between medium and high, right? So low carb, high carb, low carb, medium carb, high carb, super high carb. So Thursday will be super high carb. Friday will be somewhere between medium and high, right? I'll keep it somewhere here and see how my body looks like. A lot of these things is not maths. You can't just write and say this is what it's supposed to do. You have to take feedback from how you look. Are you looking full? Are you looking dry? Are you looking, you know, soggy? Are you looking depleted? So if you are feeling that you are a little bit spilt over, I would say reduce the carbs on the next day. So let's say you have a day between your medium carb and your high carb day on Friday, right? And let's say your show is on Saturday or Sunday. So if you are looking a little bit spilt over, it's good because you're going to clean yourself up in the night, right? And you're going to wake up good on the day of the show. But if you're looking a little bit depleted, that's when we have a little bit of a problem. So you need to up your carbohydrates a little bit and maybe your water a little bit more, okay? So all of this depends on how you look, and you can correct it, and you should know how to correct it. The way you correct it is by carbs and water. If you are depleted, you can either drink a little bit more water right, to fill out a little bit more. And if you are, or you can have more carbs, right? But again, you need to understand that you can only pull carbs in when you have water and sodium in your system. Sodium you're obviously going to get through whatever you're going to eat. Okay, we don't have to dump a lot of sodium inside. So the thing is, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have a low carb day. Thursday, super high. Friday, medium to high. And Saturday is when we correct it. Okay, so for me, I have a show on Saturday afternoon, which is the prejudging, and my main show is on Sunday afternoon. That is if I make it to the finals. Hopefully, yes, I will. Let's fingers crossed. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, for the prejudging, I want a more drier look. I don't want to fill out and spill out on stage when I'm prejudging, because prejudging is where they actually make the decision. So I'm going for a much drier look on prejudging. So I'm going to have to be very cautious with the amount of water and carbs that I drink. So me personally, on Friday night, I want to be how I want to look on show day. I don't want to be spilt over. I don't want to be dry. Okay, I mean, I don't want to be depleted. So I want to look good for the show. So Saturday morning I wake up, I'm going to just sip on water for the entire day. I'm not going to dump a lot of water in my system. Sip on it. When I mean sip on it, I'm not depleting myself of water also. I'll take it when I need it. That's it. And try to have small bite-sized portions of carbs. Probably let's say I'll have if my show is at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the evening, I'll try to get in like two-thirds of what my entire carbs for that day would be, keeping in mind that that day is going to be a medium carb day. Okay, this way I am going to look good on stage, and before I hit the stage, I'll take a shot of sodium, salt, like really probably like good amounts of sodium, because it gets your vascularity out and it gives you a nice good pump. Before pumping up sodium, a little bit of fat also. So what I have planned right now is I'm going to have almond butter, and I'm going to have some puffed rice and a little bit of chocolate. So this is going to be my pre-show meal, and I'll probably have this 1 hour before, and before I step on stage, I'll just have like some puffed rice and some honey. Okay, so this is going to be what I'm going to go on stage, and a shot of sodium, right? This is just salt water, that's it. So it's going to help me get a good pump. And again, guys, you need to understand that you don't want to be spilt over after the show also. So I'm going to play, you need to play it very conservative. It's always okay to be depleted rather than filled out. So once I'm done with this, and hopefully I am qualified for the finals, I'll go back home. I'm not going to do anything crazy, finish my medium carb day on that day and drink a normal amount of water, nothing too crazy. And hopefully, so hopefully I will repeat the same thing the next day morning. This depends on how I'm going to look the next day morning. If I'm looking depleted, drink a little bit more of water and more of carbs, again a medium carb day. Or if I'm looking filled out, I need to correct it, and I'll probably dump a lot of water in my system to flush out the water. This is what I would do. So that is peak week, and peak week is something that you need to really know your body to do, because I've been like tracking. If you have seen my stories, I write down how my body responds to each of the days when I'm having my carbs or whatever it is. So I know what my low carb days, I know what my high carb days, I know how I behave, what foods I can have. So for me, I'm going to play it safe with the carb sources. I'm not going to go and eat burgers and pizza. So I'm going to just have rice. Rice is good for me. It doesn't bloat me up. It doesn't do anything to me. So I have rice and puffed rice. These are two very safe sources according to me. And I've lately noticed that peanuts bloat me up a little bit. So that's why I bought almond butter. Organic, so which means that it's just ground almonds and some little bit of salt. So that's pretty much my peak week plan. Is I would say that this is not something that which is written. It's not how you track calories or something. It's not like a maintenance calorie track count or something like that. It depends from people to people, and everybody is different. So I would say understand your clients and play it super safe. Do not read something which is extreme and try to follow it, because it might not work, and you don't want to like fuck up your prep, right? So that's what it's all about, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys found this interesting. I'm making this video because I got a lot of questions regarding this, and they wanted me to make a video on my Instagram, so that's why I'm doing this here. Thanks a lot for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. I am just waiting for my prep to get over so that I can take YouTube super seriously. Thanks a lot. and I'll see you guys on the next video.